if you get to the deadline and you want to be able to get a certain player, the Ricketts will sign off on it based on the one-loss record, right? Based on the how good the team is. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Jed, baseball's back. 5-4. You got to feel pretty good. I know last Sunday a lot of us may have melted down when that game got away, but you got to feel good at 5-4, right?
Yeah, no. Early season baseball is so hard, right? Like if we lost on Wednesday, you're 4-5 versus 5-4, and people look at that as a different thing, and that's early season baseball. You get into the summer, those small little differences don't matter. But yeah, I think listen, we played poorly in Japan. It was a great trip, but we played poorly and came back 0-2. So if you had said you're going to go 5-2 on a West Coast trip, I think the Diamondbacks are a really good team. They had the best offense in baseball last year, and then obviously, the A's played really well in the second half, and it's on the West Coast. So I think going 5-2 on that trip was really impressive, and we got our work cut out for us. You look at our schedule the rest of this month; it's really difficult. We're going to find out a lot about us really quickly, and I think that's a good thing.
Jed, what is the difference between last year's team and this year's team as far as roster composition? You want to be able to provide better results this year, so how do you look at it?
It's it's a better team. I think we're projected, much better. I think that people get annoyed talking about projections, but if you just look at sort of where we were projected, last year from a win total versus this year, we're a number of games higher. I think we're much deeper. I think when I look at our roster, I think we're a deeper roster than we were a year ago. And obviously, I think from an upper level talent standpoint, we didn't have a player like Tucker last year. That makes a difference.
Last year, we were sitting with you on opening day, and you said to us, we're not there yet. We're not the Braves. We're not the Dodgers. We're not there yet. We're coming, and I feel good about the plan, but we're not there yet. Are you there yet? Leave the Dodgers in their own league. Are you there yet to go, yeah, we should be a playoff team?
Yeah, no, I think we're a good team. I do. I think that's what I was going to say. Is I think I think the Dodgers are in their own space. Yeah. But I think we can compete with the rest. But we have to prove it though, and I think that ultimately, like I said, this is going to be a big test for us this next stretch. We playing with. What are the 21-2 or something like that is a combined record the next 2 weeks. So we got our work cut out for us. But like I said, I think we're deep. I think we're talented. I think the team has a good vibe about it, and I was impressed. Like we did a good job of bouncing back. To sit on an 0-2 record for a week. I thought our guys did a good job bouncing back from that after kind of a weird go back to Arizona, play some games that don't matter for 5 days. I thought they did a good job bouncing back and playing well in Arizona.
Jed, you talked about the Cubs being a good team, but what gets it to be a great team? What intangibles do you need to see for you to say, I think we've turned the corner?
Well, ultimately, I think it comes down to where we're projected. We're projected to be a good team, but I think how do you make that leap?
Yeah,
and guys play better than we expect. I think that the way we're better is guys like PCA and Amaya make that leap. The way we do it is, a guy like Ben Brown sticks in the rotation and does a really good job. The guys in the bullpen step up and give us a solid bullpen. I think that's how you outperform. And I think that ultimately, every team in the league is saying the same thing, right? Like, here's where every team is based on all these projection systems, and you kind of take all of those. It's pretty accurate. Why do some teams play better? Because they have guys that might be a 3-win projection, and they're a 5 or 6 win player. I think that there's no team last year that made the playoffs that didn't have someone that was a 5-win player. Not all those guys were coming into the season projected that way, right? So how do you go from good to great? Either you have the Dodgers level of talent, which means you're already there, right? Or the 16 Cubs are like that when you're coming into the season, unless you guys stumble, you're great. But I think that it's about having guys outperform. And the goal still is to get to a place where you come into the season and you're there. Mm-hmm. We're not at that great level, which I'd say probably in the 92, 93, 94 win projection. Like, we're not there yet. I actually don't think anyone else is right now in the National League or in baseball, except for the Dodgers. But I think that's how you get there.
That's what Craig talked about. Remember, he says that we got to start winning 90-plus ball games around here.
And when it's like he was very quiet. I remember saying, dude, show some emotion. Let's go. I'm ready, shoot, aim. That's just my personality. He was much calmer. And then the last week, we're all at the ballpark, and he said, we got to start thinking about building 90-win teams around here and go from there.
Yep.
When you hear your manager say that, do you bristle? Do you go, no, I'm cool with that?
No, it's great. I mean, I think, we sat down and talked before he was hired, and we talked about, where we were, and it was like, kind of said to him, like, this next year's team's not going to, like, we're on the right path. And I think he was like, hey, let's get going. And I think that's that urgency is important, and I think there was frustration from him. I think he, sitting there with an 83-win team that, played really well in the second half, but really struggled in May and June and put us in a big hole. And I think it was probably a summer of frustration from him. And like I said, I think that urgency is good.
Jed Oyer with us on the Kap and J Hood Morning Show as we broadcast live from the Sports Corner here on ESPN 1000 and on YouTube. For years growing up, all of us knew that there was an Oriole way, there was a Yankee way, Cardinal way, because the book was written, this is how we play baseball. Jed, can you define what the Cubs way is on the field under Craig? Like, there's got to be a mission statement for Craig and for you to say, if we do these things, we're going to be a winning ball club, and this is the way that we play.
Yeah, I was going to say, I do think some of that has been when it was just kind of a couple teams that had that. I feel like it was now every team wants to have their way, and it's kind of, I think that's a little bit played out, But I think if you look at the way we played so far, the thing that's impressed me the most and the thing that was like really focused on is, it's almost like the hitting and pitching part, they're there. You got to do the rest of the game so well, and I think we've run the bases exceptionally well. That was a huge emphasis of spring training. Craig was pounding that all spring. I think, watching our guys beat force outs at second base.
Like PCA.
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite play of the year, I don't remember the exact score of the game, 15-3, 16-3, whatever, him beating the play to second base.
We talked about
and then Craig challenging it for us. Like, to me, that was like, hey, we're not quitting. We're gonna keep playing really hard. So I think that, to me, that's what he's been focusing on is, we got to play good defense. We have to run the bases well. We have a good team. We're not going to bludgeon people. We're not going to shut everyone down. The thing, like, we have to play really good defense. Defense is probably the thing that we can do as well as almost anyone, and we have to run the bases really well. Like, we have an athletic team, and I think it's just really important. Like, that's the part of the game you can control night in, night out is your effort there. I think that the other stuff, offense will go up and down. Some of the pitching will go up and down. You'll have injuries, but if we have all those athletic guys playing good defense and all those athletic guys running the bases hard, we'll be in good shape.
That sounds like a Cub way. Yeah. All those things you laid out.
Yeah.
You can put that on a T-shirt.
Yeah. There you go.
In terms of pitching depth, I know everybody wants to talk about, well, we didn't buy this guy or we didn't get that guy. But the fact of the matter is, I would like probably you, a number one starter, a guy who goes with him and goes with Steele, because if one of them, God forbid, goes down, oh, God, where do we get that? Do you have money in your budget? Do you think your owner, if you came to him, it's July, you're 3 games in front, and X pitcher, really good, but makes really good money, is available, he would let you at him?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we'll have money to spend at the deadline, and I was laughing. You and Jesse were talking about the deadline already, and it's what is the 4th of April or something like that?
Correct.
Which is, but yeah, I mean, I think that you're always thinking about it. You kind of have to. You're always preparing for it, but you kind of have to put it out of your mind and let the team play and see what you need. And we always talk about at the deadline, what do people need, right? And it's like if you're trading position players at the deadline, it's really hard. I mean, I've lived it. On the sell side, you're only going to have 1 or 2 teams that might need a first baseman, that might need a right fielder. There's a reason that pitching is the premium in season. Everyone can use more pitching, right? Like that number one starter you're talking about. Well, guess what? Like, the Dodgers will want that guy too, and the Phillies, and the Mariners, even with great rotations, you always want another guy. So everyone wants a better bullpen at the deadline. Everyone wants a better rotation, and so
it's an overpay.
It always is, but the point is, like, I think, like, as we sit here today, I don't know what other holes we may have, but, like, yes, you can almost anticipate that, like, yeah, every team is going to could use, that. No, I don't want to mention names; it's illegal for me. But, like, every team could use that guy that's a top rotational starter that starts game 2 of the playoffs. Everyone needs that.
Cade Horton in your plans this season?
He has to earn that. He has to earn it. I mean, I think
but that's realistic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's in AAA. He pitched last night. I mean, I think so. He needs some time right now. He missed a lot of time last year, but I think the nice thing about where we are right now is that like a lot of our we have a lot of depth in AAA. Good prospects, good players. I think that when we have the inevitable injuries, we're going to be calling up guys that are good prospects ready to play. We're not going to call up the minor league free agents that are stopgap.
33 years old, right.
and that feels good that we're at that place now where like we're going to run out a top 100 prospect there as opposed to to your point, like a replacement level guy that was signed at the end of February.
Jed, so the fans, and so I can understand it. I know that you mentioned in spring training that you thanked the Ricketts family for being able to loosen up a little bit in terms of trying to get a player or two. It just didn't work out. I just need to understand from your standpoint. So if you get to the deadline and you want to be able to get a certain player, the Ricketts will sign off on it based on the one-loss record, right? Based on the how good the team is. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay. I need to know. Explain that.
I mean, there's I have zero question if we play like we should play, that we can have an active deadline. I think that's for sure.
In terms of like Sunday's game, it's 6-2. I'm sitting there waiting to do my post game, going, "Damn, 3 out of 4 in Arizona." Wait, what's going on here? Like, how do you handle that watching a game? Are you emotional? Are you throwing the remote? Were you in Arizona?
I was actually on. I was at the first 3 games of that series, and then I was flying home with my kids. So I'm watching on the pitch cast on the plane and texting with the guys in the office because that was just the only flights we could get home. It's a pretty awful way to experience it.
The worst.
I get off the plane to a million phone calls and texts, and spent the rest of the night talking through it. And it is fascinating, right? Like when you win that game, like we'll win that game at some point this year. We'll come back like that, and it feels good, but it's not like it's
not as devastating as the loss.
Not even by like 100 times,
Agreed.
Right? And it's such a fascinating thing about our sport. Like if we come back down 6-2 today and win the game, like you're like, oh, that's great, a great win, awesome, we're excited. Like, let's play tomorrow. When you have that loss, it feels like the next game is like it's like 3 weeks away.
Right.
It's
a hangover.
It's a hangover. It is, and there's no question. And that was an awful loss. We didn't pitch well. We had a lot of guys unavailable early in the season. You're not pushing later in the season. You're like guys are pitching 3 out of 4 days, or guys are pitching back to back, and we're not there right now with our bullpen. So obviously, like that was part of it. But yeah, we can't have those losses happen. And you know what? We need to get get our bullpen guys throwing well and lined up. And I think we did that last year for a long stretch, but it took us too long to get there, and we have to kind of cut that time.
Jed Hoyer from the Chicago Cubs with us here at Sports Corner here on ESPN 1000 and streaming on the ESPN Chicago app. So tell us the first time you saw a torpedo bat.
You guys were like the trendsetters on that.
Tell
us the first time you saw one, and what was your initial reaction?
I mean, a while ago now, a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
a year and a half ago, we started talking about
it. And Cody used one in a game, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting, right? Because this is the way the world works. That like this is something we've been our guys have been hitting with them in the cage.
Yeah.
Our guys used them all spring training. Our guys use them in games. I'm really proud of our just all of our work on it to get to that point. Then it took a random 20-run outburst by the Yankees. Now it's like a national thing. I'm getting emails from Louisville Slugger asking if my kids want to buy one. And I'm like, we've been working on this for a year and a half, and it took. And the funny thing is that if the Yankees don't score 20 that day,
yes,
which had little to do with a torpedo bat, right?
They're great,
right? Yeah. Like, or is anyone talking about it?
No,
it's so interesting the way media works, the information works. That now I've got everyone asking me about it. I'm like, wow, this is I never would have imagined that would have happened.
Well, it's just new. Like I think we all like new and fresh in sports.
But it was
interesting.
But I guess the point is, it was being used before that game,
and nobody said a word.
And no one said a word.
Right.
And it took a random game that was that happened, and now everyone's talking about it, even though like the reason that game happened had nothing to do with the bats.
Are you for or against torpedo bats?
I'm all in. I mean, we're all in. It's
Okay.
great. I mean, I think it's every hitter might not love the feel, or I think that like I can understand why a guy would be like, you know what, I don't love this feel, but to me, it's a better bat.
Yeah.
It's a better bat, and I think you have the ability to bigger sweet spot. It increases the exit velocity. When a guy hits a home run 108, that ball is also going to go out with a normal bat. Like the point,
right? Aaron Judge isn't using a torpedo bat, and he's still killing it.
I was like, a couple of the home runs the Yankees hit that day are like, oh, look at this torpedo bat. I'm like, it's 109. Like that ball's going out like with anything,
anywhere.
Right? So, but I do think that yes, like it should increase exit velocity. It's it's a better bat, and I think that maybe it took that kind of outburst to make it normalized, and I think we're going to see a ton of them. And I think it's awesome because it's a real innovation. And I think watch our games. The pitching is too good. Like hitting is so hard now, and so anything that gives a little help to the hitter is a good thing, because all the rest of this stuff we're doing now, these guys are facing 100 like it's nothing.
Right.
And hitting's really hard now. So if something gives something back to the hitters, like that's great.
In terms of looking at your team, what is the thing you're most confident about my team? Is it defense? Is it offense? And the one thing that you go, God, I wish we could be better at that.
Well, I mean, I think for me, it's like the defense and the base running. Like I think that's going to show up every day. We're a really good defensive team. Really, like I think across the board, our guys make plays. Like they're athletic and they're sure-handed, and I think that part feels really good. I think we'll run the bases hard and we'll be athletic, and I think all year. I do really like the quality of the at bat. I think that our guys grind. Like take the game on Wednesday. Like whether we score the runs or not. Like if you drive a guy like Springs to 80 pitches in 3 innings, or whatever it was,
he's not bad.
No, but if you're doing that, you're just gonna like. You focus on game 9 of the season. It's like, okay, it's one game. But you're like, okay, if we take this approach for 50 games, we're going to be in great shape. You're knocking pitchers out early and grinding. And I think we should be able to do that. I actually think I think we have some starting pitching depth. I think Saad's coming back. Obviously, we have Ben Brown in the rotation. Without putting timetables on it, I mean, I think he's already thrown 3 innings, so I think that we're moving in the right direction. But yeah, I think that what keeps people like me up at night, it's always going to be the end of the game, like getting guys. We have talented arms, it's about getting guys in the right places, in the right roles, getting them throwing well. Bullpens go up and down over the course of the summer, but we need to get there and win the games we're supposed to win. And this early stretch is hard, and that does, like I said, it's a good challenge, but it's also like you're looking at our schedule, and it's 2 trips to the West Coast in the first 3 weeks, and we're playing really good teams that are playing well. Like we gotta grind through that.
What keeps this guy up at night is the bullpen, because there's so many new moving parts.
Yeah.
You can understand that.
Yeah.
I mean, because
I was out of my mind on Sunday.
Well, it's just new, right?
Yeah.
26 blown saves last year. You didn't want to have that this year. So there's going to be adjustment there with so many new parts, because they all have to gel. There are individual parts, Jed, but also the bullpen has to gel as a whole.
Of course it does. And I think, the one thing with the bullpen is, like, it will not look like the nature of bullpens. Like, my guess is like our position playing group's going to look pretty similar all year. Like, some injuries, some things are going to happen, but, it's going to look pretty much like this. Like, the bullpen and the nature of bullpens, they're, like, ever evolving, You have guys that had a great year last year that's going to have a bad year. You have a guy that had a bad year that you're going to claim on waivers that's going to have a good year. Like Tyson Miller, we made a small trade. I remember I was out for I think it was
Seattle, right?
On Mother's Day. We make a trade with Seattle. He was great for us last year, the rest of the year. Like he was a guy that would have been a waiver claim. It would have been like a small trade. Like, so to me, when I look at it in terms of my thought process, we got to get those guys in the right place. We also can never stop looking in the bullpen, because it may be a big piece of the deadline. It may be a small piece that comes up and, that helps you. And, I always use 2015 as an example of that, of like, we're sitting there watching the LCS, and we're watching, Trevor Cahill and Clayton Richard pitch the 7th and 8th innings. And you're like, these guys weren't even on our team mid-season. They were like tiny signings, waiver claims, and you're like, that is the nature of bullpens. And I think we just got to be ever vigilant, and so that's the part that I know, like every day you're focused on.
What is the secret sauce to building one? Because I had dinner with Kevin Towers one day, and he said, I spent a bunch of money. I got my owner to let me spend money in San Diego. He goes, we were horrible. I picked 3 guys up that got released, and they were better than anybody in our bullpen.
Yeah. The reality of that role is so much is based on confidence, and it is a volatile role. So you can get a guy who can, for 50 games, get locked in, get confident, and turn his career around. And the flip side, guy can go out. I mean, we had Michael Fulmer a couple years ago. He was good. He had a 7.5 in mid-May, and you look up and 50% of the balls in play on him are hits. And again, every team is calling me trying to trade for him. So I'm like, I know why they're calling. His stuff is good. He's got an 8 ERA. The rest of the year, he had like a 2. And so I think you're dealing with such tiny sample sizes, right, that it's really difficult. You'll see that every year. A guy gets released with like a 7 ERA and goes to some other team and has a 1 the rest of the year. And you realize, it's so difficult. It's the hardest thing. When I was I do think in San Diego, I followed Kevin. It was a great bullpen of these cast-offs. That place was a really good place to pitch. And so these guys would come in, and they'd be, wait a second, you mean if I just throw strikes, they're going to fly out to the 360 feet as an out every time?
Yeah.
And I think, it's a funny sport that way, right? Like, you all of a sudden you're like, wait, I feel really big. I can just throw heaters down the middle, and they're going to be outs. And then all of a sudden your stuff gets a little bit better and a little bit better, and now you're a really good reliever. I mean, Heath Bell, Mike Adams, all these guys turned into all-stars, and Kevin did a good job picking those guys off waivers. So, that's the part where, you're just constantly, how do you just constantly churn through guys and hope to find the guy that gets hot? Like Tyson was a good example last year. Lopez was a good example last year. He got released by the Mets. We picked him up. He was pitching the 8th for us a lot and pitching really well. So,
Jay, we're glad you stopped by opening day. You
man.
see the
Always.
Yingling flowing.
All right.
So, as always, we appreciate it.
I know. I'm jealous of these guys, man. I'm drinking a green tea, and these guys are drinking beer. It's like they win.
There's nothing in the green tea? Nothing besides tea?
After the game.